Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Oh yeah, we got the new intro. We are back. We are back for a healthy dose of Week 3 recap. That helps no one FantasyCast on Crier Media. You can check us out on our YouTube. You can comment along. Maybe you've got some fantasy football questions for us, because those seem to come at the end of the show. We'd appreciate them at maybe the midpoint. That makes our nights a little bit easier. You can also comment along on the Crier Twitch channel. You can comment along on Twitter, but that's not going to help you too much. And I was thinking maybe we do a Facebook page, but then I thought that was a bad idea, and I just stopped thinking about it. So, that's pretty much it. So watch our show. Welcome to the show, boys. We're still missing someone, but we'll get to the people that actually bothered to show up today. We got my man Steve in 480p. What's going on, man?
Low definition me is what's going on, or bad internet me. I'm not really sure. Either way, at least I showed up.
That's true.
Yeah, here for a good time.
And my man Chris, straight up from the Kingdom, which is imploded many years ago, but they still have T-shirts, so that's great. How you doing, man?
It's a brand new vintage T-shirt.
Oh, were those from the stadium before everything went down? Have they been holding on to those?
I found it in the rubble, brushed it off, and was like, "Hey, look, it fits.
Right on.
Let's go."
Right on. It looks almost brand new. The rubble didn't seem to affect it at all, and
can't even tell.
We are missing our obviously Ted. That he's the glue of this group, regardless of if his content is even worth bringing up. But Ted's still in Hawaii. I mean, we're not. I mean, let's be honest. We are a little bit jealous. I'm sure. Just like
he's selfish.
He is selfish.
Not at all.
So selfish.
He's just not committed.
Now, before I put this up, and you guys know what's coming here. Is like Ted is. It's funny because he's a pretty humble guy, and yet it's like he secretly really craves attention. Like, oh yeah, I was in the gym working for CrossFit and doing this, and oh yeah, but it's no big deal. Like, you guys, like, stop making fun. Like, and then he goes and sends this freaking photo. Like, come on. As if we're not going to be ripping on him for this. Like, oh yeah, just walking out of the beach in Waikiki, and like, yeah, but seriously, guys, don't rip on me. It's just me being me.
I'm a model, idiot.
What's hold on a second, Ryan. Put that back up for a second. What's the least little thing that he's trying to accomplish here? Like, you've got like the Sex Panther eyes. You've got like half kind of arm over as if he's gonna like try and flex, and then you've got like mega short shorts. Like, he's asking for it all.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, Christy, hold on a second. Can you just take this picture as if I'm like naturally walking out of the water? Make sure you get like this other swimmer in the background so it looks like you just randomly caught me.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, how many takes do you think he made his wife take?
Even that person in the ocean's like, oh, dude, just stop now. Just
do you think he went and talked to that person and was like, hey, can you get out of my shot?
Yeah. No, he probably said, like, it makes it more legitimate if there's somebody else in the shot. Like, you can't really rip on them being like, oh, come on, guys. Like, as if I would go talk to this random person right here. But right before the shot, he's like, hey, by the way, we're going to take about 10 of these. Just keep looking out into the sunset, okay?
Okay, so clearly it's one of his daughters. It's a plant for sure then.
Oh, yeah. You think so?
So he makes it look natural, like he's just,
don't look at the camera.
Yeah, everybody.
Whatever you do.
Did he send you guys the photo of him with the Rock stunt double?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna have to send it to you guys after, because it's been a real pain trying to load these photos. Actually, I'm gonna send it to you now. And you guys can give me your 2 cents about it. Like, this, he's just, I don't even know. Like, honestly, sometimes this guy just.
I guess, like, for our listeners, we should probably like say that Ryan was not kidding Twitter. When Ryan is, or Ted is literally like one of the most humble dudes ever. He doesn't like drawing attention to himself whatsoever. just for some reason, he always gets caught in these shots.
Yeah.
Obviously the one that our buddy Matt took of him in his Okanagan gear there, like he was asking for that, but he just kind of like walks into these shots where we're like, Ted, Ryan and I were talking about this before we went live. Like, great, you put it on the internet, you send it to us, we're going to use it to roast you. Like, are you new to this group, Ted? Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys remember when I shaved in my 6-pack? That was totally for social media. Had nothing to do with my own personal vanity. This was for likes, as Deion Sanders or what's his name was saying. Like, I'm doing it for clicks, baby. So, but let's talk about football. Obviously, the big story this week is the Jets, and apparently the locker room is a little split about Zach Wilson. Apparently, Robert Saleh's a little bit too high on him. I'm sorry, folks, but yes, they are too high on him because he's healthy and he's actually able to pass the ball for 4 quarters. So maybe people need to chill out and just remember that you don't have Mike White anymore. So he's not going to save you. Mike White season, # Mike White season. Aaron Rodgers is done for the season. There was something saying that he could be ready for playoffs, and well, good luck for that. So just leave Zach Wilson alone for now, okay? Please, everybody. You guys, what do you think?
So I haven't really been watching much Jets stuff, but there was one
nobody.
I don't know why this always happens to Jets quarterbacks, but they're just like the talk of anything that could go wrong. So the one was Zach Wilson's kind of in the pocket and nobody actually tackles him. He just kind of like phantom gets tackled and like turtles to the ground, and everybody's kind of just like, hey, like free sack, that one's mine. Like, sweet.
Like a butt fumble almost.
Yeah, it's very Mark Sanchez butt fumble. He's just terrible. Get literally anyone to try and salvage something. Like, the Jets are done in rebuild. The rebuild is over. It's got to be wins or nothing, right? So, yeah, he's horrible.
What?
We've got a question.
What just happened there?
I sent a message in the private chat and I got kicked out. What the hell?
I was like, what is going on here? He just sends a message and I'm like, see you, bud. Okay. 1 second, Thomas. We'll get to your question in 1 second here. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, the Bears are probably in the same thing. Did you guys see that photo? I think I sent it to you guys. They're talking about like games in Brazil and Germany. Like, they're even thinking about putting a professional team in Chicago. Like, they're just getting absolutely, and I love it. They're absolutely roasted, and quite frankly, it's warranted. So let's get to Thomas's question here. I got offered Anthony Richardson, Zach Moss, and Garrett Wilson. Remember how I'm good at English? For Josh Jacobs. What should I do?
Is it keeper? Thomas, we need to know if it's keeper or redraft.
Well, that's what the question was in the private chat. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I saw that we had a chat. Sorry. Thomas, can you help us out here?
He's got Josh Jacobs, right?
So he's got, Josh Jacobs. Yeah.
He's got Josh.
Okay, he's got Josh Jacobs. I'm taking that deal every single time. If it's redraft, you get Garrett Wilson for the next year. If it's not redraft, you get 3 people for the year. Yeah, I don't care what league this is. Just take it.
I like Garrett Wilson piece alone.
I had Josh Jacobs and they offered me Garrett Wilson straight up. I would take that without everything.
So it's not
redraft. I'm doing 1 for 1. So the others.
Sorry, it's not redraft. So it's a keeper league. Yeah, take that deal.
Take that.
Yeah, take that
quickly before your opponent hears this. And
you know what? I feel like we get a few of those. Like, we get a few of these every season, right? It's like, okay, we're not a huge show, but like, if they don't watch this show and that is the trade, you click accept as quick as possible. Like, when you find out someone accidentally dropped, I don't know, Bijan Robinson for whatever stupid reason, like a Yahoo wouldn't allow you to do that, and you just go and hit accept because somebody did something stupid. You just get on that. You don't think about it. You just run across the street. Forget about traffic. Just make that happen. That was probably a little bit too graphic. I apologize. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I'm endorsing playing in traffic. Can y'all rate my team if I accept if I accept the trade? Absolutely. Yeah. If we're gonna do our show, so accept the trade and then show us your roster.
And PPR or half PPR? Are you splitting the PPRs?
Oh shoot, you guys! I switched tabs here. I got to redo
You
those.
take the
It's okay.
PPR off.
PPR means points per reception.
Wasn't what I was getting at.
Oh, wow, Ryan.
Sorry. Sorry.
You're fine.
You're literally fumbling this worse than
I switched.
the entire team this week.
Yeah, I switched profiles on the network here because I needed to add some videos for our Thanos segment. So half PPR is the split, kind of goes like this. It's always good. Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure that we get that. Here we go. At least it saved some of the stuff that I had here. So Chris, you were saying points per reception is PPR. Thank you for that.
I did say that, yeah. About 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago, it's like, Ryan, are you on a delay? I'm not, actually. I probably have the best connection of the three of us.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was on TV or not, but I did see the final score and I thought that can't be right. 70-20. The Dolphins decided to break the scoreboard. They went Madden mode this past week against the Broncos. And we were talking about this at work. I said, the crazy thing is Russell Wilson still put up 300 yards in that game. So even though they got smoked, I mean, and it did not look pretty, statistically, there were some individual efforts in that game for the Broncos that fantasy-wise still were relevant.
Yeah. Do you guys remember way back, and I say way back, like probably 8 to 10 years ago when Papa John's used to have that Monday deal?
Yes.
They used to have the percentage off of whoever scored the highest percentage. So like you just get so stuck into games that you had no business like being entertained with. Like I feel like that would have been the old school game where everyone's like, let's go, it's Pizza Monday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Break the bank on this one.
They have to put up a close sign after a game like that. Like,
And-
guys, we don't have enough pizza.
The last
thing we didn't get any shipments this week.
The last thing I wanted for dinner last night was pizza, but if Papa John still had that deal, I would have forced myself to eat more pizza.
You know what? It's carbs. Let's carb load. Okay, so
Yeah.
Thomas, we're gonna grab your team here quickly. Let's post it up, and then we got one more here. So he's got Kirk or Richards. I'm gonna assume you meant Kirk, because although screw it, Kirk Cousins should be spelt that way, and I'm gonna champion that cause.
Dirk Dozens.
Yeah. So Kirk, yeah, exactly. Let's make it Richard Bijan, Zach Moss, DK and Garrett, Puka, Ford.
So I think you slot a Shane in for Zach Moss, and Zach Moss falls on either onto your bench or into a flex spot. Puka and Jerome Ford is pretty deadly. I mean, I would start Puka and Jerome Ford over Zach Moss, but Bijan and Devin Shane at running back, especially if this is a keeper league, like you are set.
And he clearly got in on these ads. Like I'm sure some of these guys came to you off the waiver wire, what have you. So like you were smart, you got in there early, and you did what I'm about to.
But like just like looking at that, like it in a keeper league, you're set at quarterback with Richardson, you're set at running back with Bijan and Shane, you're set at receiver with Garrett Wilson and DK, and then like maybe you had to try to get a stronger tight end, but that's a pretty deadly roster.
Even still, like that's not terrible. Like Ferguson's, we're gonna assume that the Cowboys are gonna be kind of okay.
Yeah, it's
like
not
tight ends.
Yeah, Ford, Puka, and a Shane off waivers.
What you need to do with this is, it depends if you're going for it this year. Like it looks like by the looks of it, you're starting a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, a tight end, your standard kind of thing.
Standard league. Yeah. Standard wire.
If you're going for it this year, you keep Ford, you pop him in for Zach Moss. If that continues to, if Zach Moss loses that starting job later on, if not, you sell high on Ford right now. Sell high on Puka. It depends how many keeper slots you have, right? Like you've got enough people there where you could keep, Bijan, Garrett Wilson, DK, a Shane. That's 4 keepers right there without even looking at Anthony Richardson. So you're going for it this year. Maybe you buy something else to kind of put you over the top. And if not, sell high on some of those pieces you picked up for free off the waiver wire.
That's a sweet team, though. Good for you. Good for you. And the biggest story, actually, there's two more things. Biggest story of the week: Stromile Swift, DeAndre Swift, and Taylor Swift are all trending. I just threw in Stromile because I was trying to keep
He's always trending.
I mean, he's always trending, exactly. So I figured, let's keep this thing going. Big weekend again from DeAndre Swift. Obviously, Taylor Swift has created an entirely new world of football for the NFL. I'm sure you guys saw have you guys seen the NFL Twitter handle? It says the NFL Taylor's version beside it. And the marketing machine is about to explode. New Heights podcast, which drops tomorrow, is going to probably be the most listened podcast in the history of podcasts tomorrow.
It's going to break podcast servers.
So I mean, thankfully this is just a live stream. we've modified that this season. But you look at that, like Kelsey jerseys went up. What did they say? He sold like 300,000 jerseys.
400%.
That's insane.
400%.
The Swifties are out.
And then he added how many new Twitter, or was it Twitter followers or Instagram followers?
I didn't see that.
He all these things. And I mean, everyone's going to ride the story out as long as it goes and it's fresh. It's definitely something worth talking about. But I mean,
Swifty country, let's ride.
Oh man, that needs to be the saying. That needs to be it. I think we better trademark that before the NFL.
Before the Swifties do, yeah.
Yeah, Russ is like, babe, what do you think about this? Are you kidding me right now? Sierra,
not again, Russ.
Yeah, exactly.
Swifty country, let's ride.
Is Shane really going to be that guy, though? He's sure looking like it. It's not that he's going to be that guy. He probably will be. But, I mean, you have nothing to lose.
And he was
everything to gain.
He was splitting carries with Mostert before the game got out of hand. And then once the game got out of hand, they let a Shane take over. So the guy had 4 touchdowns yesterday.
I see visions.
Sunday. I have no idea what day of the week it is right now, guys. I didn't work yesterday, and it's really messed me up. So
you got all that
groceries.
Kingdom dust in your lungs.
I went and picked up groceries yesterday, and I was like, "So, how's your weekend been?" I was like, "Wait, it's Monday. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Stupid question. Don't listen."
We're all working, jerk.
Yeah.
The rest of us have a life to get a hold of here. So I don't know. I like it. And then final question before you got something. Sorry, go for it.
I think Shane is in the absolute, if there was ever a rookie to go to a system where you are going to maximize talents, he's got those Chris Johnson in his prime vibes where everybody saw that, everybody saw the whole thing of the fastest 5-ball carriers in the NFL this year. It was Tyreek, Shane, Tyreek, Mostert, Tyreek. The guy can flat out fly. He's on a track team, and Mostert is 28 or 29. I can't exactly remember, but the wheels don't stay on forever, especially Mostert is a track guy. He was
31.
Have you noticed the rest of the running backs in this league so far up to week 3? Have you just noticed how running backs really it's been a pretty much a receiver heavy scoring system so far, through 3 weeks, how running backs haven't factored in as much. So somebody like that, if he's still factoring in and putting up points like that, even for this season alone, if you're just a one and done season, which you're not, I mean, you're already getting top billing from a guy that probably hasn't even exploded. I mean, he's had one big game, but he's probably going to be a star all season. He's the Puka in running backs.
Yeah, these track guys can't do it forever. Mostert, if for whatever
31.
reason, he falls off the rails or his speed's gonna decline. That's his whole game. That was his game when he was with the Ravens. It's his game after he left and went to the 49ers. That's been his whole game. So when he loses that speed, you're done. Like you fall so far off that cliff when speed is your game and you lose that speed step. So I anticipate Shane being the like clear number one runner in that group next year, if not, even halfway through this year. So
love it. Shane, or sorry, not Shane. Thomas, we'll get to your lineup and stuff in a second here. We're going to get through this, do Thano, and then we'll get to your lineup as well. Thanks for hanging in. Appreciate it. Final question in the intro, guys. Who have you been disappointed with so far this season?
Where to start? Brees Hall for me.
Okay, I'm so thankful you guys didn't say me or Ted to start, so I appreciate that. Brees Hall and Kyle Pitts, yeah. I like those answers. I've been
I want Kyle Pitts to be a thing, so like I want Kyle Pitts to be like fetch so bad, but he's not fetch.
He isn't. For me, it's Jahmyr Gibbs. I think I haven't been sold a false bill of goods yet, but when there's that, I guess it was kind of like the Javid Best thing. Maybe it's just like a Detroit Lions thing, where no matter how much hype that running back gets, it just doesn't live up to it. And I hope it's not that, because, well, we know exactly how that ends. We've also seen the DeAndre Swift thing happen too. So, and he just moves and gets better somewhere else. But it's kind of like bugging me early on, because I know like the hype's been there. Like Bijan was obviously the first pick if you're doing like rookie draft to start. And then Jahmyr was, I mean, you would say, I guess, kind of the consensus number 2, right?
Yeah.
He was a clear cut too.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me as an owner of them in one league anyway, you're watching like, okay, like this is the week, and it hasn't come yet. So maybe it's just one of those slow start things and he blows up mid-season. But usually those guys with all the hype, like, I mean, Kareem Hunt blew up right away. Chris Johnson blew up right away. Like there's some of these guys, like they live up to the billing and like they're off to the races from day one.
Well, and you would hope with Montgomery going out with an injury that it would give Gibbs an opportunity to shine.
But he did, and he still didn't shine.
That's what I mean. It's like
yeah.
Montgomery's out and Gibbs still isn't that bell cow guy, right?
It's just frustrating. I mean, that would be my take. Kyle Pitts is, I think, everyone in fantasy football is frustrated with Kyle Pitts.
You got to think with Jahmyr Gibbs, though. I mean, they were playing an Atlanta team that, for all the like negativity on
good job,
how
Thomas.
the team actually is, their front 7 is actually pretty good at stopping the run, and Jahmyr Gibbs still put up almost 5 yards a carry that game. The only thing I would be disappointed with Montgomery going out and Jahmyr Gibbs not having like that blow up game is that they only played him in 60% of the snaps. You would think if he was like the guy without Montgomery there, you're looking at that like, 75 to 80 range. I know.
Just run the wheels off of him.
Yeah. Like you're not going to get into that like ridiculous territory. Like Kyron Williams last game played 100% of the snaps on offense. The week before he played 95% of them.
Pardon me, sir.
Like, yeah. I have never seen a running back get used in 100% of offensive snaps. So
that's the power up button.
I haven't got a power up on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like what are we like around, or is it around the horn where you get extra points?
Yeah,
kind of like that. I like it. Chris, is your house about to fall apart, or what's going on?
My wife just dropped something. I have no idea.
Okay, you're good. You're gonna be okay.
Hey, keep it down up there.
Mom, me love. Okay, time for easily the best segment of the show. We got a new graphic, folks. I told you were patience. Your patience with me, and I delivered. I previewed for the guys in the group chat just to make sure get their blessing on this. And I got to make sure I get this button right. Yeah, that's the right button. Okay. You're going to hear that sound again real quick. Without further ado, the new Thano Stars. Oh, man. Jody, welcome to the show. He's electric. Jody Fortson, even though he's done for the season, he's never done on this show.
Jody, let's go.
Man, that's so electric. I was trying to make, like, how ridiculous can we make this stupid thing look? No more Tom Brady. That's a thing of the past now. Tom, you had your day in the sun on our show. You never watched, you never commented, so we had to move on from you.
Jody's our guy.
Jody's our guy. I mean, we do have an MVP award named after him, so it's only fitting that he's the star of the reason the show even exists. So without further ado, Chris, you got your nice swag on, so we're gonna let you shine in the Thanos series here. Who you got?
The only thing I wish I had was the I sent you the picture, Ryan, the Seahawks W glasses.
Yeah, I've been looking for those. They're expensive, man. I don't have that kind of coin.
They are.
Yeah, I don't have 18 grand sitting around.
Fun fact. The night before the Seahawks game, talking about the game, going to the game with the kids, they're excited. Carter gets to see DK Metcalf. And he goes, I hope I see Jake Bobo. I'm like, Jake Bobo? Like, no. So my wife is obsessed with Jake Bobo because first and foremost, my wife thinks he's handsome. Second, his last name is Bobo, and that's fun to say.
Mm-hmm.
Can't falter there. It is fun to say.
Yeah.
And I loudmouth, like, gosh, Jake Bobo. I'm like, I think Carter was like, I hope I see Jake Bobo catch a touchdown. I'm like, Jake Bobo is not even going to catch a pass, let alone catch a touchdown. Sure enough, fourth quarter, Jake Bobo, 1 catch, 5 yards. The toe drag swag, which is quite impressive. But still, man, that helps no one.
Raekwon O'Neal. Fake it. Smith floats it. Caught. Bobo. Touchdown.
You know what would have been the best is if in that clip you were like they saw Chris cheering for the touchdown. They're like,
I told you, Dad.
The clip. And Chris is in there when it panned to the crowd. Holy, this is the best.
Chris doesn't make that much money to be in that clip.
Unfortunately, they don't catch the 300s too much.
Yeah, it's like me trying to get a home run ball at the home run derby. Like, did you catch one? Like, if they hit one, it would have been on every highlight reel for the next 80 years. That's how high they had to hit it. Someone would have had to basically hit the first ever 700-foot home run. So no, yeah, basically the same thing. But he wasn't clowning around. He was ready to catch. He was a preseason star. It was inevitable he was going to catch a pass. So,
and then right after that, the 2-point conversion from Geno to Lockett was some straight up Russell Wilson NFC Championship game shit, man. Like that was like almost an exact recreation of that 2-point conversion from Russ to Luke Wilson. And like I said it right in the moment. I text Michaela, who was also at the game. Actually, I got to meet Michaela this weekend. I text her at the game being like, that was some Russell Wilson shit. And I go on Twitter and it's like, that was Russell Wilson. That was Russell Wilson. Like even Luke Wilson was like retweeted the clip. Was like, that looks familiar.
I've been here.
Yeah.
I've been here. So Chris, before we get into the next one, like 3 weeks in, are you like, is it fun season for Seahawks fans this year? Like, how are you? What's the vibe like so far?
I will continue to just say it's going to be what it's going to be. I try to not get too high or too low. Just enjoy it. Like I don't know.
It's fun, right? Like this is fun.
The team is loaded with talent. Don't get me wrong. Like the team is like loaded with talent, loaded with depth. The fact that Stone Forsythe and Jake Curhan have played as well as they have the last 2 weeks, like couldn't have asked for anything better. Supposed to get Jamal Adams back next week against the Giants on Monday Night Football. Hopefully get Reek Woolen back as well. Like pairing Woolen and Witherspoon, like good luck.
DK's getting deep balls finally. They're utilizing the shelf system. Thank you.
With Woolen and Witherspoon, like who are you going to throw to? Especially if Jamal's back, he's going to cover up the middle of the field. Quandre's got the deep ball. Like, I don't know, man. It certainly fun to watch, and I try not to get too excited and too high. But
you can enjoy it though. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I think last year was one of those, like, you're like, wow, like, you know, it is what it is, and next thing you know, you're in the playoffs, getting a fifth overall draft pick in the same season. You're like, cool, right on.
Yeah. No, and that's what I mean. They're loaded with talent, so enjoy the talent while we have it, because it's not going to last forever, obviously, because it's a salary cap world.
Yeah.
And I mean, Gino, I don't know, man. He's playing out of his mind. So let's just take it for what it is. I would like to see the run game get going a little bit more, but they're 2-1 right now, so can't complain.
Things are going all right. Things are going all right. Yo, Steve, fan on me, bro.
All right, I'm stealing a little page from Chris's theme. I'm starting to run on this theme as well. I want to find some guys that are owned in 0% of the league, because that's a true Thanos. This guy makes it back onto our list. I did do some, scroll of death to make sure, in fact, we did have him as a Thano last year, and we did. So he had his third career touchdown. He poached 2 touchdowns last year from fantasy football squads everywhere, and he's back at it early this year. This time he's taken reps away from Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. Those guys don't need the extra touchdowns, right? Well, they do, because I have Justin Jefferson and Addison on a few teams, so don't do this anymore. But for this week, my Thano, former Raven, Josh Oliver.
Cousins, pressure coming. Hit as he throws, gets rid of it to the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
We apparently canned that video in there, so good for you. Last week and tonight with Josh Oliver. What happened there? How come we're getting funny audio here? Thomas has got a few things in here. Let's go. Just accepted the trade. Thank y'all, guys. I like the podcast. How often do you do these? Once a week, Thomas. We do this every Tuesday unless we get a guest that we have to move. So our good friend Jim Coventry, usually Wednesdays have worked out with him, but I haven't reached out of when he would like to do the show, but he said he's more than willing to come on. So
we try to do it every Tuesday before waivers go through, so that we can, of course, fill you guys in with our sneaky ads.
I think we still have, and I'm just going to look here. I think this is, if somebody wants to vamp while I'm looking for this, I think our podcast is still up. Yeah, so we do have a podcast. Last season, we had a podcast of this show as well. So if you want to listen to some old episodes, obviously we have our YouTube and tons of clips. Chris seems to be the star on those, usually for no reason of football whatsoever. But we're trying to make this legit at some point so that people actually will sponsor us for content as opposed to content.
Hey man, BBHV is legit.
We're never gonna let that go. BBHV will live on. Maybe one day we'll have T-shirts. I just can't wear them around the house. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
Is there going to be graphics or just letters on that? Because
I think I would have to just have letters, and even then, like, the one question would be like, "So what does that mean?" And I'd have to have some really quick wit to make that happen. I remember I had a shirt. So go ahead.
The B's are really big. The HMV just had like some like hair shooting off.
Just rogue, just going rogue, right? I like it. I had a shirt. I think it was like in my late teens or early 20s, and it had like not a stick man, but like, you know, the outline of like the white kind of drawing guy, and it said, "You must be this tall to ride." My mom thought it was kind of funny, and I was like, she has no clue. So I was like, I wonder how long I can wear this shirt before like I get the talk from my mom, like, yeah, you can't wear that shirt anymore. So anyway, good times. Up to me. Who do I got here? I mean, he's probably going to end up getting picked up, but he's a Thano this week. I don't know if anybody watched Sunday Night Football, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, it looks like they've added a new option to their offense whose name is not Pat or Najee. He's not related to, and I kind of went through Wikipedia. He's not related to Stone Cold. He's not related to Jane. He's not related to Miles, but Calvin Austin would be my Thano this week. 5% owned, 1% started, on for 73% of the snaps and averaging 6 targets. Wait, sorry. This is my Thano. This isn't my ad. I apologize. I realized I just had all those stats for you that don't matter at all, but they may matter if you pick them up. That's a freebie. Without further ado, Calvin Austin.
3rd and 7. Pickett drops, firing deep downfield, streaking is Calvin Austin, who's got it, and he's got it all. Touchdown Pittsburgh, but there is a flag back.
That was like the Larry Fitzgerald catch in the Super Bowl. Pretty close, which is ironic because they were playing the Steelers. Good catch though. Good catch and run.
I've told you guys what my 5-year-old calls the Steelers, right?
No,
The cheaters.
they are the cheaters.
He's
Cheaters.
a smart kid.
I have
Nick?
ingrained that into his brain. They are the cheaters.
Well, you're doing a good job. Final Thano, we decided to add this one in last minute, and then Thomas, absolutely, we're going to go through your roster here. Steve gave this to me last second. This guy's actual name is it Bobby? No, Robbie Chosen. And who was saying that he actually chose, like he had his name changed? Is that right?
I didn't give you this one.
Or are you just goofing around? I think that was Chris, right?
I never.
That was
gave you
me.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Robbie.
So, anyway, this is a TED pick for sure. So we're just going to roll the clip, and then we'll get to more important stuff.
32 White going deep. Oh, he's got Chosen! Beating Sertan for 6. The former Robbie Anderson. Now Robbie Chosen.
Oh, now I get what you're saying.
So he went from Robbie Anderson to Chosen Anderson to now Robbie Chosen.
Okay, so he's meta world peace, apparently.
Yeah.
Super. We're gonna get to Thomas, then Nicholas. We're gonna get to yours as well. No, he changed his name from Robbie. I like this. It's like last week with what's his pickle? Who was it? Who's the guy from Michael Thomas? What was his nickname?
Oh, Slant Boy?
Slant Boy, yeah, that's good.
Slant Boy.
Hi boy, what's up? Can you help me with my lineup?
I'm just a slant boy.
So Thomas, what are you asking about your lineup, my friend? Send it in the chat. We're gonna handle Nicholas' thing here while you address that question. Would you all trade Pacheco for Zay Flowers? Steve,
you're on this one.
Sorry, I was looking up the other one. What's the question here?
Pacheco for Flowers.
Would you trade Pacheco for Zay Flowers?
Sorry, are you receiving Pacheco or receiving Zay Flowers? I guess we need to know that.
Yeah, I'm probably taking. I mean, I'm a little biased in this one. Obviously, I'm the token Ravens fan here. Pacheco's been good. He hasn't been used a lot in KC. I was just looking at his snap percentages, 48, 51, and 42. He's been making the most of those percentages. He's on a high-powered offense. So I don't think you can go wrong with Pacheco. The difference is Zay Flowers already looks like he might be their guy with or without Odell, with or without Rashad Bateman, with or without Mark Andrews. Zay is playing 84, 77, and 93% of the snap share. He's received 10 targets in 2 games. So I think without the touchdown, Zay's numbers look modest. When those touchdowns come in, he could be in the talks of like top 20 wide receiver in fantasy football this year. That's how much they're using him. I also love the Ravens wide receiver fantasy matchups. This is the time of year I always start looking at fantasy matchups if I'm in the running and I start loading up. They've got Jacksonville, San Fran, Miami, Pittsburgh, who on paper have good defenses, but they're giving up fantasy football points. So I'm taking Zay Flowers in that one. Little biased, but I also think the numbers prove or suggest that you should take Zay.
There you go.
I agree.
Okay, so Thomas was just asking basically like who he's starting. So, I mean, I guess the other thing too is week to week, you're probably gonna have a little bit better of a matchup. But I mean, I've got Kirk Cousins already. He hasn't let me down yet, aside from 1 week by 0.5 points, but that wasn't his fault. That was the rest of my team. Anthony Richardson losing by 5 yards is a tough one. When you score 120 points and you lose by 5 yards overall, that's a tough loss. So served him right because Kyle lost this week. I think he had 60 points or something. So screw him. I'm going to say, like, for quarterback for now anyway, I mean, I think you have to be going with Kirk Cousins until Richardson kind of blows up. You're probably not going to be wrong on Richardson, but at the same time, I mean, until he's proven healthy again, like, Kirk Cousins doesn't suck. I mean, if anything, there's all the rumors swirling that they should send him to the Jets. So if anything, he goes from that offense to another offense where he could probably, do some damage. But in the here and now, I would say Kirk Cousins would be your guy. Obviously, you're starting Bijan because you're not an idiot. I mean, hey, maybe you like to roll the dice. Maybe you like to get a little crazy. I don't suggest that, but yeah, you want to be Bijan, and you're probably for your other. I mean, Ford's looked pretty good. Steve, what do you think? If you're starting 2 running backs, who Bijan and who else?
I'm not picking Ford because they're playing the Ravens, but again, there's a little bit of bias behind that, but the Ravens also just have statistically strong run defenses, and they bottle guys up, right? Like, they limit, better running backs. Cleveland has a great offensive line, so maybe that's the start here, and I'm overthinking it. I'm probably taking a Shane after that big week. They're probably going to try and roll him a little more. I think he's got the highest upside of the remaining 3.
Here's one thing that, and we probably don't talk about this enough. I'm sure a lot of you guys subscribe to some kind of a fantasy site. If you don't, but you're always checking rankings. We're always checking rankings. I think, like, you are. I mean, if you're in the middle. I've had enough middle teams. I've had really good teams, and you just have that one guy. You're like, okay, I just need my difference maker to be like 3 more points, and that's going to put me over this win because I know it's going to be a close matchup, but I need like 3 points here. Who am I going to take? Is it going to be like Puka, or is it going to be like, let's say it was last year and it was DK combined with this year's Puka? Like, DK was in there, like, well, obviously I'd start my guy, but like, he hasn't really blown up for me. And I've got another guy that, has been pretty consistent. You have to look at some of those rankings and go to the trusted ones. Don't just go to like NFL.com, or I should probably watch what I say because maybe they'll hook us up. So, but go to like the 4-4s or Fantasy Pros or Pro Football or whatever. Like, look at those rankings and look at a few of them if you subscribe to The Athletic. Again, no free ads, but if you're looking into those rankings, like, there are a guy, a RotoWire, like, go to see what Jim's got for rankings. Like, there's a reason these guys are employed in their field. So make sure that you're having a look at those, because sometimes from week to week, I mean, maybe a chain is your guy for the next couple of weeks, but all of a sudden Ford gets on a run where he's going to have, some ideal matchups. Trust that side of things too. Don't, read it as gospel all the time, but go with your gut on a few of those as well. But make sure you're looking at rankings too. If you're that close, like if they're neck and neck, go with your gut on it. But if there's enough of a separation on those ranking sheets, then, again, we're talking about that helps no one. So we're trying to help you guys find, some deeper dives. Find out who's a little bit higher up on those rankings, because there's probably some truth to some of that. So unless you get a random game where they blow up and go for 70 points. But that would be my suggestion as far as when we're talking about the running backs. But Steve, what do you think on the receiver side of things, and maybe tight end as well?
Give that one to Chris. He's got his boy DK in there. He'll have a better shot at that one.
Yeah, really quick. I'll touch on everything here really quick. I think this week you go with Kirk Cousins against Carolina. I just think it's the better matchup. Overall, Richardson gives you the better, higher ceiling, Kirk gives you probably a better floor. But like Ryan already touched on, you have to keep an eye on Richardson's health because he, I think, in 3 games has already been hurt twice, one of which was a concussion. So I think this week, though, like I said, you roll with Kirk. Running backs, it's Bijan and a Shane until otherwise proven. I think at this point, you have to go with the guys that, I mean, Bijan has already proven he's a 3 bell cow back. The week Shane just had, you got to roll with the hot hand there. And you have Ford as kind of a luxury depth guy. Wide receiver, DK and Garrett Wilson, I think is your best bet. DK's a tricky one. I mean, he put up 112 yards on the Panthers on Sunday. I mean, touchdown away from probably a monster week. It is PPR, so maybe Puka gives you better value. Garrett Wilson's kind of the no-brainer, I think, of your 3 receivers, though. Even with Zach Wilson at quarterback, Garrett Wilson's going to put up yards and touchdowns, garbage time, what have you. Tight end, I don't know, flip a coin. Higbee hasn't really shown much yet this year. Neither is Ferguson. So, I mean, they're both kind of buried in.
I'm going to trust a Cowboys tight end right now, based on history.
They're both buried.
No,
though,
I'm not
right?
saying like don't. I'm not saying go trust them. But if you're going to trust a guy who's going to likely see the game, if you have to pick between the two, I would probably go Ferguson.
Yeah, like Steve was saying earlier, if you can and you want to try to sell high on a guy, I would try to sell high and upgrade your tight end position.
There you go.
Or see what's available on the waiver wire.
Week.
What?
Yeah, Jake Ferguson is not getting the same, like a lot of time. So first of all, the tight end market this year has absolutely sucked. We've talked about this at length year after year where tight ends, it's like, just hope you get a good one. And if you don't, roll through them as much as possible. Like I have Evan Ingram in one league who's like a top 5 tight end. And I'm like already looking to upgrade. And I'm like, wait a second, I've got a top 5 tight end. Everyone else is dealing with these issues too.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I wanting to upgrade? It's because the tight end position sucks right now. So Tyler Higbee is playing. If like the market sucks, look for the things that could have a tight end explode. Tyler Higbee is playing 91, 93, and 96% of the snap share. Like we were just talking about Kyron Williams playing 95 and 100. This is a 6'6", 255-pound dude who is playing over 90% of every single game. That's the guy I'm taking every single time. And I think Jake Ferguson was playing in like the 70 to high 60 kind of range for snaps. So I'm going to take the guy that's going to see 12 to 20 more minutes of game as opposed to the guy who, maybe is like younger and like, oh, trust a Cowboys tight end. Don't trust him until they've proven they can.
I mean, I guess that you're fair there. Dalton Schultz is probably back in the day was the better option. So, yeah. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to get to our next segment. And we haven't changed these pictures yet because there's no need to. Let's get to Sleepy at what the heck? Something went wrong there. Let's just assume it says Sleepy Ads on it. Crap. Now I got to find the old photo. Sleepy Ads. Just assume that's what it says. Chris, because you have billing because it is you on the picture, who is your Sleepy Ad this week?
No, I want Steve to go first on this one because
Steve, you have top billing because Chris said so.
I just looked at who you had.
Yeah, and I want Steve to go first because Steve entered his information first, so I don't want it to look like Steve is following my lead. So I'm gonna hand it over to my guy.
We're just all such a good team here, man. We're just so nice.
Yeah, that's the reason.
My sleepy ad of the week is Quentin Johnson of the LA Chargers. So we saw Mike Williams went down with the knee injury. It's torn ACL. So the Chargers rookie wide receiver is going to be immediately pushed into a bigger role. Chris is going to talk a little more about why he believes his ad is a little bit better. And there's some very strong, legitimate reasons why he's right about this. When they drafted Quentin Johnson, this was like, everyone was saying, why did they draft the same guy that they already have in Mike Williams? Like, he's basically a clone of Mike Williams. The Chargers didn't use a first-round pick on Quentin Johnson just for him to sit there. So I put in here, Josh Palmer will probably get a look at probably more of the snaps because he's been in the offense more. But they need to get Quentin Johnson involved in this passing attack if they want to be contenders this year. I know LA wants to be contenders this year because they've got all the pieces for it. Quentin Johnson is only owned in 51% of sleeper leagues. So if you're able to get him, scoop him up now. They've got a bye week coming up after this week against Vegas, and that's going to be a perfect time to get a rookie like fully integrated into that offense. Pick yourself up Quentin Johnson.
And if you're my man Chris, you're gonna follow that up with some fire.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted Steve to go first is because I'm following it up with another Chargers wide receiver. Like I said, Steve entered his information first, so I wanted him to kind of get first word on this and not make it look like one of us was copying the other. So my guy is rostered in only 5% of leagues, and my sleepy ad is Joshua Palmer. He had 7 targets on Sunday versus the Vikings. He already has rapport with his quarterback, Justin Herbert. So I think instead of grabbing the young up-and-comer in Quentin Johnston, you go out, you grab the vet, who I think is going to slot into that number 2 receiver position. And I guess, one of us after this week is going to be crowning ourselves as the most okayest advisor between Steve and I. And
whoa. We don't give that until the end of the season. You guys.
Okay, the week 3 most okayest advisor.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair. I like that. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
that's
so my guy is Josh Palmer over Quentin Johnston, but I mean, obviously one of them is going to step up huge. Both of them are going to get an expanded role regardless. So I don't think you can really go wrong with either one, but I just think Palmer is going to step into that wide receiver 2 position behind Keenan Allen.
I think you guys probably almost have like start and add combos on both of those guys. Realistically, like if you're adding them, you're probably going to be starting them too. So
yep.
If we had a segment on this show of like trade target of the week, I cannot think of a better time to dangle Keenan Allen in front of somebody, like especially if you're on a team where maybe you're not making the playoffs and Keenan Allen is clearly not a keeper. Like he's 31 years old. We don't know how much more he's got left in the tank. Last week he had 20 targets and 18 catches.
Oh my
if
God.
You can get your if you can somehow take Keenan Allen and maximize those first 3 games to sell for like a massive running back or like maybe a lower wide receiver and a really strong running back combo, like
can you guys do some searching for me? Because I have Keenan Allen.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I picked him up I think I picked him up in like the 8th round or 6th round or something. I'm like, I will take
value.
Yeah.
In case anyone's not sure, 18 catches in a PPR league is very valuable.
That's 18 PPRs.
That's points. That's 18 points.
He also had 250. Wow. I did not know that he had 215 receiving yards last game too. Sell him for the absolute farm if you can. His value will never be higher.
Didn't he make a pass too?
I don't know that.
They've got him as 1-for-1 in completion. So I mean, he's basically Taysom Hill on drugs. So like steroids, not drugs.
Everything you absolutely can right now. Yeah, he will never be as valuable in his career as this moment right now.
Yeah, so I'm already going to get you guys to be my proxy for some trades out there. So please make sure that I get something good coming in return.
I've got an 8th round pick for him. That deal right now live on air.
You got a which now?
An
I didn't hear
round
you.
pick.
Glitched.
You could
8th round. So it's a third.
Yeah, you could recoup all of your costs.
I'm going somewhere
I could
this
pick
season
up
though.
Gordon and add him in a trade too.
We'll talk off the air. My ad. Damn, I hate this show. My ad. You've already heard his name once. He was a preseason star for the Seattle Seahawks. 1% owned, 1% started for obvious reasons. Jake Bobo. We knew this was coming at some point on the show. I really like Jake Bobo. I think he's cool. My niece calls me Uncle Bobo, so it's only fitting that I'd fit him in this show at some point. It is early. We did like him in the preseason. Knowing the Seahawks, he's going to end up being a fan fave this year. He's not necessarily going to be like the all-star, but he's going to be something. Chris just got BBO tattooed on his butt while he was in Seattle over the weekend. We'll let you guess where the other O is. But for at least this week, if you got some room for him, add Jake Bobo, add cousin Jake to the team, and, have a little bit of fun. You never know. Catch lightning in a bottle.
Folks, I am the biggest homer that you could possibly imagine. And Ryan's an idiot. Don't listen to him.
About
Jake,
the tattoo or the ad?
Jake Bobo's been targeted 3 times in 3 games, guys.
Hey, you know what?
Don't do it.
Don't
do it.
Ryan,
Listen.
Jake Bobo blows up this week and he becomes a legitimate fantasy star. I think Chris has to get BBO tattooed on his ass. And we immediately I will go buy you a trophy that says world's greatest commissioner.
I should still have that anyway.
Advisor, like whatever trophy you want to match Chris's ass tattoo.
No. Bobo is behind Loggett, DK, JSN, Noah Fant, Colby Parkinson, and Will Disley in the target chair. Don't do it, guys.
It happens.
Don't do it.
He's 1 catch away. I'm just telling you, Adam. I'm not telling you to start him. He's 1 catch away, though, from a 12-point week. So
there's a reason Ryan runs this show, and it's just so he can get more airtime.
Mm-hmm.
He's just.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
He's just here to keep us all in line, and we let him throw out some random shit here and there.
What was the remember? There's the Puka tweet. They're like, oh, the people that drafted Puka in the last round versus the people that got him on waiver wires. I'm like, second last round. Take that. That's the real truthers. Like, I was there from the almost beginning.
Like I said, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna maximize his value. So without further ado, we're gonna get to the third favorite segment of the show.
That's why we do it last.
We technically have 3. So Sneaky starts with Taylor Lewan. Always a good time. He's now retired, but that's okay. You guys, this is where we really find out how well we can do in this show. I'm gonna double up here, and I don't know if this is necessarily a sneaky start. I'm gonna say it's a little bit of a sneaky start. It's not quite Najee territory, but we're gonna get into it. Romeo Doubs, yes, I know he's owned in 52% of leagues, but he's only being started in 13% of them. He's got 3 touchdowns so far this season. And aside from that Atlanta game where, we're just not going to talk about that one. He's had 2 games of 13 or more fantasy points. Snap share his snap percentage is increasing. And he was targeted 12 times in week 3. Maybe it's an outlier. Maybe it's not. But as we just said, if a guy's getting targeted 18 times, 12's not too shabby either. It's pretty nuts. So again, if you're in a PPR league, I mean, let's be honest. You're going to want to be starting a guy like that. Romeo Doubs has proven to be a valuable target in Green Bay, and I mean he's not flashy, but geez, I got him on my bench and he's doing okay. So I can't just afford to fit him in yet, unfortunately, but I'm sure it's coming once the bye week starts. So I'm happy to have him on my team, and you should try to get him started on yours, Chris.
So sorry, once you fit him in, he's going to be coming.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It wouldn't be our show without you putting me on the spot there. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just want to poo-poo on your pick again.
I just farted. Speaking of poo-poo.
Christian Watson is expected back this week, so poo-poo on Romeo Dubes.
Wow,
Dobbs.
you're just
Dubes,
like
Dobbs.
all over me today, hey?
Oh yeah, like
Oh,
white
wow.
on rice.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
I might go off script here, guys. I'm going to go off script here. I didn't want to go back to back on quarterbacks this week, especially the same guy that I named last week. I think quarterback streaming is a very important aspect of fantasy football, but I didn't want to go with Russell Wilson again this week. I think he's a good option for sure.
Can you cross stream quarterbacks?
Never cross streams. Have you learned anything from Ghostbusters?
No.
There was another quarterback that I was kind of like thinking of. Like it's a pretty good week for quarterback streaming, but I'm going to go totally off script here. And my sneaky or sleepy or whatever start of the week is Roschon Johnson, running back of the Chicago Bears. I mean, let's be real here. The Broncos just gave up. It was 350 yards on the ground. They gave up another 90 yards receiving to the Dolphins running backs. And I think they gave up, it was a combined 9 touchdowns between Raheem Mostert and Devin Achane. I'm not saying Roschon Johnson is either one of those guys, but clearly there's some issues with the Broncos being able to stop the run game and being able to cover running backs. So fire up Roschon Johnson. He might even be available on your waiver wire if you want to, add him in as a sleepy ad. That is my sneaky start of the week.
Well played.
Off script.
I'm just looking in another league if he's available. So this is a normal thing for people that don't watch the show. Just Steve, you take care of the show. I'm gonna look for Roschon Johnson. Steve, who's your guy?
We definitely like to do a lot of that stuff. Speaking of which, I put in the chat that I needed Chris to go next because the guy I'm about to talk for, I literally was trying to make a trade and I just solidified a trade for my sneaky start of the week, CJ Stroud. So special shout out goes to, this is in my 4-sport league that you guys know I'm a part of. So I just traded for CJ Stroud because my quarterback situation sucks. The Texans rookie quarterback is making some great decisions this year. Really showing some high football IQ. They're throwing it all over the yard in Houston. He's confident. He's, throwing it to Nico Collins. He's throwing it to Bobby Trees. They look great. He's owned in just 32% of leagues. Clearly not the one Yahoo league I'm in because I just had to trade for him. If you can go get him, go pick him up. He's started in just 12% of sleeper leagues. So I'm getting him now. I like him, this week. It's going to be a test for him, but his playoff matchups, I've been talking about this earlier in the episode. I think his playoff matches look really, really good. And he's back at home this week to play the Steelers. I hate the Steelers. They suck. They're annoying. As Chris's son likes to say, the cheaters. The cheaters. There we go. That was just a test to see if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Once I hear my name, my ears perk up.
Yeah. Typically, the Steelers are tough against rookie quarterbacks, but I like the 2-game momentum that Stroud has kind of put himself on. And I think you need to go get him. This is going to be a good test for Stroud. I just traded for him from my boy Alex. Thank you, Alex, for the trade. And go pick yourself up CJ Stroud.
Would you pick them to win this week?
I pick against the Steelers every single week, whether I'm right or wrong, because the Steelers.
You're one of those guys. Rod Tips Down. I'm not sure exactly what that means as a name, but I approve it. I mean, I'm guessing. Just, hey, you know what? I got a brain. I could figure it out. Mine tips to the left, which Just
Take my strong hand.
we're gonna post that. We're gonna get to Rod, and if there's one more question from someone else, we'll get to that. And then we're gonna re-roll our intro video because it's super awesome. Okay, Rod, here we go. 12-team PPR, 1 QB, 2 wideouts, 2 running backs, 1 flex Cousins. So everyone gets Cousins as a flex. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. So we got.
Did you see him without his shirt on? Of course you want.
Oh man, I'd be free. You like that? You like that? Cousins, Montgomery, Harris, Pierce, the Alligator, Watson, Diggs, CD, Hopkins. How do I get better at running back? Do I trade CD for Scary Terry, Brown Robinson, and Flowers? That's the trade?
Yes.
I mean, I
take that.
I think that's a pretty good trade.
Yeah, I mean,
if you got Diggs, and I mean, we're hoping Hopkins. I mean, you got some pretty decent pieces, but that's a nice return.
Scary Terry and Flowers,
Christian Watson. Then like Chris said, he's coming back. So you've got Diggs as your 1, you've got Watson as your 2, or if you're trading for Scary Terry, there's your 2, or you got Flowers. Who's he gonna have for?
You can flirt at your flex at that point.
Oh yeah, well, you need a running back bad. You've got Najee. I have Najee in our 1 league, and he's been just such a disappointment, which doesn't really make me too mad because he's a Steeler. But your best running back is not producing, and Algier is getting swept out. I think you have to take this trade.
That's a good return, though. I mean, it's not like it's just a nice return if you can get that. I like it.
I don't love the return because CeeDee Lamb looks like he might be wide receiver number 1 in the entire year. Like, he looks good, and pairing Diggs with CeeDee is.
But he's got needs though. So even though you've got one guy that could be tearing it up, you need more pieces.
Yeah, you definitely need to sometimes look at your team and say, okay, I have to give good pieces up because my team you're in desperate need of a running back.
Yeah. No, I think that's what you want to do. We're going to wrap up the show. Thank you everybody for commenting tonight. That's awesome. That's what makes this show so much fun. We enjoyed doing the talking part, but we also enjoy talking fantasy because it's the best. So, did we all learn something today?
Never trust Ryan on this show.
Wow. Did we learn anything else?
Never trust Ryan on any show.
Okay, that's fair. That's
really, to be honest.
That's fair. You can trust me on my beer references, though. I can help you on that. So maybe we'll start a beer show. That'll work. On behalf of an absent, once again, that's 2 thirds. Third's not good, Ted. On behalf of an absent Ted, we've got
Trap Teddy.
Oh yeah, I can't help it. We've got Steve, we've got Chris. I am Ryan. This is That Helps No One FantasyCast on Crier Media. We're gonna roll out with the video and we're gonna end this bad boy. Good luck this week.
I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated.
Playoffs? Don't talk about